I'm overly happy today. It's because my term has ended. I've finished all my labs and supervisions and lectures and staff rehearsals. So I am flying back home tomorrow, and my room is in a state of, it's messy and whatever, but I'm so excited. I miss home food. I miss home food so much. Like, I've been eating potatoes and those green things, Brussels sprouts every day, so like, oh. Anyway, I know for some of you watching, you have interviews coming up, whether that be like Oxford interviews or for other unis. This video is my kind of me telling you what my experience was. So if you want to know which college I applied to, how my interview went, then just keep watching. I applied to Cambridge through UCAS like everyone else. My other choices were Imperial, Durham, Bath and UCL. I actually didn't apply to the college I'm in right now. I applied to Emmanuel College because during the open day I went to about 15 colleges and all of them were nice. Same vibe, because I went for all the middle-sized colleges because I visited so many. I couldn't decide, and I was just like, okay, there are ducks at Emma, I'll apply to Emma. On the open day I didn't actually visit Jesus, which is the college I'm in right now. I was lazy and I didn't want to have to get a bike and cycle to the department all the time, which is why I didn't like consider anything beyond like a certain radius. Yeah, so I applied to Emma, and then sometime in November I got the invitation to go for interview in Cambridge. So I flew over to the UK and went for an interview. I also got an email asking if I wanted to stay in college, as in Emmanuel College, for the interview, like stay in one of the rooms. And at this point I was like, it would be nice to experience the whole like college atmosphere and like properly living here, but I felt that it was a lot of pressure. Obviously there'd be other applicants around and I didn't really want to distract myself. I felt like it was a bit too much to be living right next to the people who you are essentially competing against. So I chose to live outside of college and I walked over to Emmanuel College for my interviews. I was guided into this waiting room where practically everyone was. There were a few like friendly year 2 and year 3 helpers helping out and showing you where to go, asking if you wanted coffee, but I didn't drink coffee, so I was just like, nah. I think the most nerve-wracking thing about the whole interview process was being in that room, because literally like everyone who applied for the same subject in the same college was sitting there waiting for their interview. There was like this guy talking about how much physics he knew, and that got me like really nervous. I think sitting in that waiting room was worse than the interview itself because all my peers were there. And then at some point, like, my interview time arrived, so one of the year 2 year 3 helpers like escorted me to this staircase, and then went up and there was like a room and it was wooden and it was fancy. My first interview was a electrical engineering interview because I'd written that I was most interested in the area, so they had like 2 electrical engineers ask me questions. I can't tell you like exactly the questions they asked, but first we didn't like just go straight into the academic work. We started off with like overall discussion about A-levels. They asked me, because I had to send my UMS scores in, they asked me why my UMS scores were so high, which was a bit of a weird question, but I just said I work really hard. And that was a very weird question. Like, it was one of the first questions they asked. I was like, And then the second one, we were talking about electric cars and problems with electric cars, batteries, and like the world running out of lithium and stuff like that. So that was all very interesting. And then we moved on to like proper questions where it's kind of held Cambridge interviews are kind of held in a supervision style. So in a supervision, it'd be like one supervisor to two students, and in the interview, it was two interviewers to one student. While one was asking me a question, the other one did not say anything at all. They were just sitting there like taking notes, and you're supposed to ignore them and pretend they're not there. And then they switch over, so the second person asks you questions, and the first one takes notes. Yeah, it was all like pretty like standard Oxford style questions, which you can find online. The first one was about like voltages and stuff. I don't really remember the other questions, but I do remember the last one because one of the guys also did like fluid mechanics, so he wanted to know if I like knew about like densities and stuff. And I told him like I didn't do much thermodynamics or like fluid mechanics in school, and it was okay. Like, it's okay to tell them you don't know, because when you tell them, they're like, okay, so we're gonna help you. And like when you tell them you don't know something, they're gonna give you extra information. So don't feel like you're supposed to know everything, because they seriously don't know exactly what's in your syllabus. That was my first interview. I think my first one didn't go too well, because it was my first one. It was at like 9 in the morning. I think I was the first person to have the interview on that day, so I was really nervous. And also what didn't help was one of the guys had a really thick European kind of accent, and I spent more time trying to decipher his accent than to actually like do the question, because I just kept saying, excuse me, can you repeat that? And I think he got a little annoyed. So my first interview didn't go too well because of that. I was back in the waiting room for ages. I was like sitting there and listening to all these other people, but there was a really friendly year 2 engineer who came up to me and like had a discussion, because like I was pretending to read a book, because you know, you just walk into a waiting room and you don't really want to talk to anyone else. So I was pretending to read a book, so I had a book out, but I wasn't actually reading. And he kind of knew that, so he came along and we had a chat. He was quite nice. And then I went in for my second interview, which was for like mechanics and math, like general stuff you do at A-level. My advice for you if you're going for an interview is to just enjoy it, be yourself, show them who you are. Definitely vocalize your thoughts, because they do want to see how you think. But other than that, don't go in with too high of an expectation, because Cambridge is Cambridge. It's just any other university. If you get in, great. If you get rejected, you go to another fantastic university. I hope this video helped in some way. Everyone's interview experience will be different, because they'll have applied to a different college or a different subject. So good luck everyone who's having an interview this month or whatever time you're watching this. For people who aren't having an interview, please do consider applying to Cambridge if you like studying, because there is a good chance that Cambridge is suited for you and you are suited for Cambridge, and this place is amazing, so you should definitely apply. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!